In the Obama administration, the plan is as follows. The White House will remain in charge of formulating cybersecurity policies and coordinating those policies across the various departments of the federal government. This coordination function will be performed by the cleverly named Office of the Cybersecurity Coordinator, which is an office that will report directly to the President and in which the President will personally choose the individual to fill that coordinating role. But while the White House will take on the lead on coordination, the actual operation, the actual things that have to be done will rest within the departments of the federal government. The Department of Homeland Security, the department of which I am the Secretary, will defend the federal executive branch, networks, and systems, the so-called .gov world, as well as lead the public-private intersection for protection of the private sector from cyber attack, the so-called .org world. The Department of Defense will protect the military structure, the so-called .mil infrastructure. Both the Department of Security and the Department of Defense will work with the NSA, and the NSA's role will be to provide technical assistance to both of us, to both departments. This will be within DHS one of our top priorities. And accordingly, one of the things I discovered as I came into the department was we had cyber kind of all over the place. There was a bit here, a bit there, and none of it particularly coordinated, centralized, focused, or organized. And we can't accept that kind of a structure anymore. And so what we did was create a position of Deputy Undersecretary in the National Protection and Programs Directorate. Phil Reidinger is that Deputy Undersecretary. He is here with me this evening. Under him will be all of the various cyber aspects within the Department of Homeland Security. And he will report to an undersecretary, but hence to me, so that we now have really a command structure, a control structure that will allow us to focus our efforts in the cybersecurity world where they can do the most good. And we will put in that line the National Cyber Security Center, which prior to now has been relatively underutilized. We are in the process of recruiting some of the best and brightest to come into the government, to lend their talents and their expertise in this very, very new world, this new just emerged or emerging threat, and to help us create a structure that we can sustain not just for the present, but as we move forward. We also are trying to think outside the box. And so I just named to the National Homeland Security Advisory Council a well-known computer hacker. My feeling is if we can bring in some folks from the dark side, they share their skills and allow us to more effectively protect the critical infrastructure that is now so cyber dependent. I think I now have the first official computer hacker in the United States government. Now, let me, if I might, just list for you briefly, and then I will, time permitting, take some questions. Tell you some of the things that we are doing. A team called U.S. CERT is now operating a 7 days a week, 24-hour-a-day cyber watch warning and early detection system so that we can respond quickly when threats emerge and also hopefully detect threats before they manifest themselves. The National Cybersecurity Center, as I just mentioned, will be sharing information across agencies and abroad. Internationally, we are now part of a coalition that is called the International Watch and Warning Network, which involves 15 countries collaborating on policy issues with respect to cybersecurity and cyber attacks. It is my hope and my expectation that international component will only grow as time goes on, because, as I mentioned, the cyber world is not one that is limited by international boundaries. And so many countries have a direct stake in this. Now, let me, if I might, finish with this thought. I've laid out kind of what the problem is. I've laid out what the President has done. I've laid out what the Department of Homeland Security is doing or planning to do. But the plain fact of the matter is that no government department, no matter how large or well run, can be the sole police department and the sole protector of the cyber world. It is too big, it is too complicated. There are 1.5 billion people in the world today who are online, and I think that's probably a conservative number. And so we have to be thinking of this not just as a governmental issue or indeed a business issue, but as an issue of shared responsibility. It means that individuals, every individual has a role to play. Individuals, common sense measures for all of us, protecting passwords, updating our virus software, safeguarding personal information. For businesses, and business includes much of the critical infrastructure of this country. You know, utilities, water systems, and the like are not publicly owned by and large across the United States. They are private. So for the business world, it means making the necessary investment to protect networks from attack. And then, as mentioned a moment ago, it means a collective investment in a new 21st century workforce of cyber professionals. Perhaps for some of the younger people here this evening, you will consider a career in cyber, in public service, perhaps the Department of Homeland Security as our designated hackers. We have an enormous challenge in front of us. The dangers are huge, the challenges are large, but the opportunities are great as well, because with this technology, we increase the flow of information, the flow of freedom across the world, and that is a great and beautiful thing. So as we move forward with our cybersecurity agenda, let us make sure that we don't do so at the danger of the new cyber world that we're all privileged to inhabit. Thank you very much.
Secretary has agreed to take a couple of questions if anybody wants to be brave and be the first one. Yes, way back there.
As you know very well, that we also upset and sad and mad about what happened the Holocaust Museum last week. So I really would like to know the honest answer that we are safer now than a year ago. And I would like to know what you think.
Yeah, I think we all share the sadness about what happened at the Holocaust Museum, and reach out to the family in particular of Officer Johns, who was killed defending the museum